Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. If you could stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jackie, you have a roll with Mr. Jans on via telephone. Okay, so we have a quorum. Move on to item C, adoption of the agenda. So the only changes that I have are the additional list of bills that Jackie sent out this afternoon under item F2. Any other changes? I will note that the agenda might look a little different with some orders of some things from what we previously did. I finally able to implement some of the items that we've been talking about. So if you have any comments, feel free to forward them to myself, Brent, or Dave Jans, and we'll take it from there. So take a motion to adopt the agenda when you're ready.
So moved. Second.
A motion and second to adopt the agenda as revised. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item D, public input on non-agenda items. I don't see anybody sign up. Okay. There is nobody signed up for public input tonight. So we'll move on to item E, approval of minutes of past meetings. Any comments on the minutes that were included in the packet? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those when you're ready.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes of the past meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All opposed? Motion carried. Item F, approval of financial items. So, 3 items for you there, Jackie.
I don't have a whole lot to report this evening. If there's specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. As you noted, there is an additional list of bills. Otherwise, standard bills this time of year. That's about all I have. The only thing I do have is registration at this time. Online, we took in approximately $21,000 online, and then in person about another $15,000 more. So obviously lunch, there is no payments for lunch unless they want to add extra to their account for second meals or those types of things. So we should have all of that concluded. And I think we had 7 people take advantage of the discounted activity tickets from last year, a couple family passes and a couple adult activity tickets.
Any questions for Jackie on any of those items?
Only because Josh is here. What was the expenditure under FFA? You don't have to answer. Just curious what that was. It went under miscellaneous.
Which page, I'm sorry?
I don't know. The one where you have the month ending September 9th cumulative.
Oh, in the actual report?
Yeah, sorry. In the actual report. Activity hot lunch student. There's a farm there. I was like, oh, it's negative, but not by a lot, but.
Miscellaneous and FFA farm, Josh would probably have to answer it. Everything kind of goes under one code until I can pull it up. Otherwise, they have, every month they have miscellaneous expenses of water and electricity out at the farm.
Gonna need that.
And yes, their account is currently negative.
Fruit sales is just starting, right?
That's out of activity. In the month of September, I have a hog slap payment, I have ear tags. Before that, I had some beekeeping supplies, so variety of things.
Sure. All good, all good. I was just curious, that's all, when I see that. Bees. Unless you wanna add anything. All right.
I just paid the bills, so that would be the gentleman you would want to talk to.
Yeah,
Students are out generating revenue as we speak, right?
right now, yeah.
Any other questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion to approve those 3 items. So move.
Second, are we gonna do this every other? Do we wanna do that?
Dave can join.
Yeah, I know,
We have a motion and second to approve the financial items as listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item G, administrative reports, discussion items. Item number 1, recognition and congratulations to student, staff, and community. Mr. Jordan.
Yes, so I put a few individuals and groups to recognize. First, Mrs. Langholt and Mrs. Ebel. I'd like to recognize all the students in the cast and crew preparing for the production of Newsies here at the end of the month. Many of the students participating are involved in fall athletics, fine arts, and so adding additional 2 or 3 nights a week to rehearsing and running lines or coming in early to help build the set. They just want to recognize all those students for their investment, looking forward to the production here at the end of the month. I'd like to recognize Rhonda Menning, Ina Fay, Hillbrands, Leah Lupkus, and Jackie. If you recall, October 1st is certified enrollment, so we're in the process of kind of double checking, confirming all of our numbers. And then the report is actually due to the state here on the 15th. And then we've got an extra 2 weeks to get all of our special ed numbers confirmed and reported by the end of October. So preliminary figures, looks like we'll be up 12 students, which is a good sign, knowing that we've been down the last 2 years. So right around a certified number of about 760 certified for enrollment. So that's good news I wanted to pass along. Community recognition. Mrs. Baker would like to recognize Dan and Annie McMahon for their donations of math manipulatives for our elementary students and staff members. They've been put to work already. And then Troy Metzger was in a couple weeks ago and presented in Sarah Groan's 4th grade classroom on electrical engineering. And her statement was, he was able to even make the math and science relatable to 4th graders. So I want to recognize all those folks that have volunteered their time. Mr. Harmon, did you want to
Yeah.
kind of walk us through the book fair report you got here?
Oh, one thing, just to give the board, we try to make sure that everything we do through the year has purpose. Mr. Jordan's always talked about, extending relations out in the community, and the 2 weeks of homecoming and then the book fair, hot lunch week of getting people back in our building has been very successful and very positive. So the teachers, want to thank them for all their hard work, kind of dabbling with schedules a little bit, but you can see there, Jody gave me a report as how, for the book fair, we actually had the highest book sales that we've had since 2016. We had over 303 people in for that week eating on certain days. Kind of the format of that is the featured grade, they eat early, one of the first groups that are in there. And then there's time for the parents and the kid to go into the book fair area in the library, pick out their books, and then they get some time outside with me just to make sure that there's no rush. Parents are invited to come out for recess for a while, those types of things. With 303 people in the building in 5 days, we had a full house, which is great. I put some stuff on Twitter there, but, it shows that not only are our parents very supportive of their child, but, supporting that program and that week and supporting our hot lunch program, which does such a fabulous job all year was a very highlight of that week. So it was great to see that much participation and that many individuals coming in all those days. So very good. Thank Jody and Diane for working so hard with the book fair and the library.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Any communications, item number 2?
I don't have anything additional.
Item G3, student staff presentation. Mr. Rockville and students.
It's just gonna be me at some 4-H meetings tonight, so. If anyone would accept Mr. Joyce, Perfect. Well, thank you, Mr. Jorth, for inviting me. I like to have some kids here, but just schedule-wise, wasn't able to make it here tonight. But just gonna start off here, introducing this year's officer team. We have Cale Schulte. Oops, sorry. Cale Schulte there on the far left, he's my president. CJ Van Holland is vice president. Brooklyn Kroll is secretary. Treasurer is Cadence Boonder, and Kylie Miller, reporter. Eliora Enriquez on the far left there is our historian. Sentinel is Rex Van Wy. And then our officers at large are Jamie Vanderweerd and Ashton Manicop. And then our farm managers are Cameron Gorman and Lily Henry. Every year I think it's a really fun activity. One thing that we do is we have Christy Asmero, which is Eliora's mom, do some art photography and just get some kind of professional pictures of the officers and things like that. They liked their gray jackets more than their official dress picture, so those were the ones that I chose to go with for introducing them. First, I guess I'm going to kind of go from the end of last year, bring up to where we currently are. May term was extremely good to us, I guess, this year. Finally being able to go back and work in the farm since COVID 2 years ago. Basic farm maintenance, all of the blue gates you see here, the kids working on, those were all constructed during my metals classes. We wanted to spend a little bit of time just kind of cleaning up the place, trying to paint the continuous fence white. That's a continual project. We actually are expecting both of our cows up there on the top right. They are bred. We will have calves in the springtime, so that's some exciting things for the kids to experience. One of the cool things that now that we got the building kind of set in the way that we want, this past summer, Cameron Gorman and McKenna Hoyer were actually able to house some sheep and then a pig out there to exhibit at the Lyon County Fair. So, you know, students engaging and being able to have some really cool hands-on activities there. And then each slide, I guess, I have some thank yous that I want to mention just from some people that have helped us out at the farm and stuff like that. And then still working on stuff with our grant out there to get things finished up and finalized, and we can finally continue to just kind of engage kids out there and get some new projects and stuff like that. So we really enjoy May term out there. Kids enjoy getting out there and working and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the farm. Senior FFA trip, we were able to go to a lake up in kind of northern Minnesota, north of Brainerd, called Pelican Lake. The kids really enjoy the senior trip. It's kind of their last hurrah of being involved with FFA, and we just kind of hang out. We went boating, campfire. They have we went go-kart racing, in which I won, and I'm not too happy about it, but I won. So yeah, really, really fun experience, and appreciate you guys for allowing us to go up there and do that. Farm Safety Day Camp, we work really close with Jill Postman through a lot of summer events. In June, we help her coordinate Farm Safety Day Camp. The officers and then some select members help us put on Farm Safety Day Camp for kids throughout Lyon County, and obviously stress the importance of farm safety and trying to keep kids safe around the farm and just trying to educate them about that importance. Lyon County Fair, both with 4-H and FFA, we have quite a few kids that show under both. Thankfully, as back to quote-unquote normal as what we could have, Great year at the Lyon County Fair. It's always fun to see the kids exhibit their projects and the hard work and dedication that they have for that. And I did take a selfie, but chose to not want that one. But anyway, so I tried to get a large group picture of everyone. One of our big events, everyone says it's the best 4 days of summer. Well, I get to celebrate the 5th with fair cleanup. It's just kind of been a thing for the Central Lyon FFA. Inherited it from, when I did an FFA and even years before that. Worked with the Lyon County Fair Board, and we agreed to clean up the fairgrounds after the Lyon County Fair, and just try to help get it back to being able to store campers and stuff like that when the fairgrounds is empty again. But it's a lot of work, but working for the Fair Board's a good deal too. So again, just some thank yous up there that people that lend us equipment and stuff like that. Bees. So our FFA bees are out at the FFA farm this year, fortunately. Pass those around. We were actually able to harvest our first crop of honey. If you were to ask me 8 years ago when I started teaching if I would know as much as I know about bees as I do now, I'd call you crazy, because I'll be honest, when we first got them 3 years ago, I was a little out of my limit, I guess, but I've learned a lot about the bees and the importance of them. We actually were able to harvest 53 of these 8-ounce bottles of honey. Faculty and everyone at school, I guess, initially will get an email tomorrow selling these for $7 a bottle. So organic honey come from the FFA farm, and they say honey is really good for local allergies. So I guess the students that I have on there are Jonathan Haspels, Madeline Reeve, Peyton Vogel, and I guess along with myself. But then 2 people I like to recognize, they're now alumni, are Trey Vandekop and Dana Cruz. They were two individuals that kind of took the bees under their wings, I guess you want to say.
Pun intended.
And kind of getting the bees started, and everything comes with a lot of learning. We now know pollen is not exactly in its strong suit around the FFA farm, so next year, now that we're kind of in the harvesting phase, and we've raised the bees, and now we'll be able to do some different things to help enhance some honey production next year. So we look forward to doing that. It was a really cool experience. The kids enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, I guess the fruits of your labor, I guess. So that's our bees. Our fall district career development events, we've did 2 of them. Our first one was livestock judging. Those of you guys that know me, I guess I'm partial to the 4-legged animals in the egg world. With my livestock judging background, we did really well at the Clay County Fair. A couple highlights, I like to say Ethan Peterson was able to come away as 4th overall individual in the FFA division, and then his team went on to being 4th overall team. And then Morgan Meyer, Morgan claims it was just beginner's luck, but she needs to give herself a little more credit. But Morgan was able to get 5th place overall in the junior division, and then that team placed 5th overall. So there was, I believe, 221 competitors and 65 teams or something like that. So really big day for us again at the Clay County Fair in livestock judging. And then we tried something new this year, kind of put ourselves out there with soils evaluation. Iowa Lakes Community College hosted that district contest this year. We did not get last, but we did not get first, but we learned a lot. So that's something that I know the kids that competed on the team are excited to learn more about soils evaluation, and hopefully we can continue to grow in that area as well. So those are 2 of our district contests that we took away from this fall so far. Homecoming supper. We tried something new this year. Our years of hosting it probably in the high school commons with our chili and soup and stuff We wanted to try something new just to see if we'd have the same kind of turnout we did, just having a kind of a picnic, potluck type thing there. FFA parents supplied us with our desserts. The Lyon County Cattlemen were graciously willing to come and grill the hamburgers, and then Sunshine Foods with donating quite a bit of our food to have the picnic as well. So a great turnout, great evening. Luckily it was raining that morning, I'll be honest. I was kind of freaking out a little bit, but it's fine, it all worked out. So homecoming supper as usual there. Ag in the classroom, really cool experience for my ag business and my senior kids, where we invite the second grade classrooms down once a month. This month we went over dairy, and the kids were actually able to make butter, and tried to steer the kids in the right direction of knowing that chocolate milk does not come from brown cows. That was one of my trivia questions, and there's still quite a few second graders that think that. But so yeah, it's always fun to have the second graders down in the classroom and just learn agriculture, and yeah, they really enjoyed making their own butter. And next month we'll have them try something else. So I tried to post a bunch of pictures on our social media just to get the word out and everything that we're trying to do in the classroom there, especially with the second graders, because the kids really do enjoy it. The high schoolers will be like, oh, okay, but they really do like it. Some of my classes, don't have tons of pictures there, but recently on the far left, animal science, they just completed their dairy project. They created their own flavors. I strongly encourage them to stay away from dill pickle flavor this year. That seems to always be a flavor, and I highly discourage that one. The winner was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So that's the ice cream that they decided to make. Welding kids, if you drive back by the shop there, most of the kids here are intro, but then you can see Kale Schulte in the black and Brock Clarenbeek there in the purple. They're kind of assisting the kids, but they're actually going to be fixing the hay rack cart that's out back by the shop. Ag business, just working on advertising, showing them different commercials from the decades and how advertising has changed. And then communication with my intro kids, giving them intro or communication topics, and they have to impromptu tell their table partners about it. So those are some pictures from inside the classroom. Something new this year, living in the stock. Elior Enriquez is my historian. She's also very, very talented in multimedia presentation type stuff. And so she will be coming out with a monthly edition of Living in the Stock, our new podcast. Miranda Dreesen, she student taught with me and also a former student, and was kind enough to be a part of the first episode. Opening some new communications, a monthly newsletter for me, and just some new dates, things like that, just to try to keep kids and parents updated as much as I can. As much as I want to say they're going to go home and tell their parents, they're probably not. So I try to open that communication there as well. Some of our upcoming events, I don't need to list them all, but almost every month we have some sort of FFA activity or function or meeting or event or something like that. So biggest one this year, I am taking the honors of being the sub-district advisor. So at the end of February, our sub-district contest will be hosted here with all Lyon and Sioux County schools. So if anyone wants to volunteer for a contest, I'll be sending out a Google form. And then, of course, our banquet at the beginning of April there, followed by our end of the year hurrah with our state leadership conference. So excited to kind of get back into doing career development events. I have almost all of my FFA members signed up for some different contests. So excited for that. And our last slide, to kind of talk about National Convention. National Convention will be once again finally hosted in Indianapolis, Indiana. I got the same kind of tour lined up as what we did 2 years ago with a Prairie Fruit and Farms Dairy Goat Adventure. And then we get to finally be in person to see two of my first American degree recipients. I do have Devin Miller and Reese Borman. who are recipients of the American degree, which is the highest award you can earn in the FFA. And it'll be really cool to be able to watch them walk across stage with that accomplishment. So we have 16 kids eligible this year with COVID last year, so a little bit larger group to attend national convention this year, ranging from sophomores to seniors. So, yeah. Any questions? Let me know. And how do you want to get us tomorrow?
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
How many of the students, just out of curiosity, are, what would you say the percentage is of kids that are already living on a farm to kids who live in not a farm? Just, I don't know if you have that
Yeah.
question or that stat, just real quick a minute.
I can look it up, but I would say I probably have 30% of my chapter that live on farm
Okay.
or are related directly to agriculture.
I mean, I know it's big in the area, obviously, but there's not, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
And the amount of kids that are removed from the farm is drastically larger than the kids that I have still related to the farm.
Yeah.
I would say anywhere between 30 and 40% of my kids are still actively farming or engaged. The rest of them are rural or town kids.
Live on somewhere but don't have.
Yep.
Alright.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 16 members total in this?
16 members eligible. I currently have 70 FFA members in the high school.
70?
70. Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thanks, Josh.
You bet.
On to item number 4, principal reports. Mr. George, you want to talk a little bit about the plan moving forward between student presentations and limited
Yeah,
principal
so-
reports?
Like we talked about during COVID, we felt like we were a little disconnected from what's going on in the building. And so that's why we instituted the principal reports last school year. This year, we're gonna kind of transition back to student and staff reports. And so each month, we'll have somebody presenting on a different program or different activity that's coming up or just finished, so that you guys can hear right from the trenches what's going on in the district.
Thank you. Move on to superintendent report. Back to you, Mr. George.
I don't have anything special to add, other than if you wanted, after we're done, if you wanna kind of look at the bus bids, we've got that all there. But I've just kind of put the summary in the packet, so just point that out for everybody.
On to item number 6, board committee reports, board member reports, any discussion, anything in particular from the committees at this point? Okay. Move on to item H, old business, consider second reading of the new policies as listed.
So last month, we had the first reading of those 5 policies. Some of those kind of combination of some other policies that we've had, but wanted to make sure as new policies, they came back for a second reading.
There's no other further discussion or questions on those. I'd entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of those new policies as listed.
Second. Motion and second to approve the second reading of the new policies as listed. All in favor say aye. 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 All opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to new business. Item 1, consider early graduation requests for the 3 students listed.
Anything to add, Mr. Engelmann?
No, barring any unforeseen circumstances with not being able to pass some of our required courses this semester, the students are eligible and have sought approval to be early graduates, so I think they have their rationale there written. So they can move on to the next chapter of their lives.
Make a motion to approve those three for early graduation.
Second?
A motion and second to approve the early graduation requests for the 3 students listed. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, consider bus disposal bids.
So we received only one bid for both bus 3 and bus 10. That came from Craig Delphs. Craig's offering $500 for bus 10, $75 for bus 3. If you remember, bus 3 is inoperable, so bus 10 was placed out of service at the end of the school year last year by the Department of Ed. And we felt repairs were greater than, gonna be a greater cost than the actual value of the bus itself. So, as you can see here, I'm recommending that the bid for bus 10 be approved, and then recommending that the bid for bus 3 be rejected and instead we sell it for scrap. Feel we can get more than $75 from George Clocko than just the $75 that's been offered.
Questions on that? Discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the bus disposal bids as listed.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the bus disposal recommendation as recommended. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, consider new bus purchase.
So page 25, 26, and 27 have kind of a summary of the bus bids that we received from Hoagland, Truck Center, and School Bus Sales. So we placed a bid for a 71 passenger bus built on a 78 passenger frame. So during that process, we did, Hoagland, which is located in Marshalltown, actually provided a second bid of actually a used bus that they have sitting on their lot. And that's what's listed as bus number 1. The problem is it was built on a 78 passenger frame for 78 passengers. And so what they did is they took those 2 seats out, but the leg room in the other 12 rows wasn't adjusting. And so that's why that bid is included. Had Lane kind of measure what the difference between those would be and what our current Dune route bus has. And just, even though it's the immediately available, the lowest bid, don't think it fits our needs. Talking to Steve Bresky and a few of the other coaches and bus drivers, we have one bus like that. That's actually bus 3, and nobody liked that because of the decreased legroom, and that's why we've always kind of bid those buses on a bigger frame with fewer seats. So you can see the Thomas bus from Truck Center and the Bluebird bus are $5,000 and $10,000 more for the same specifications. Our fleet right now is roughly 50-50 Bluebird buses and international buses. And so, again, talking to Lane and talking to Steve Bresky, it's our recommendation. We accept the bid for Hoagland bus number 2 at $106,989.
Is there a budget for
Brent,
that?
is the intent for this bus to become a route bus?
Yes, so this will be our first bus that has seat belts, And so this bus is, the plan for it will be to be used on that Dune route. And over the next few bus purchases, the next series of buses will be route buses. And then we'll transition those route buses into activity buses. So I would guess a decade from now, we'll begin kind of phasing out those non-seatbelt buses on our activity routes. But we wanted to start with the actual route buses with the seatbelts because those put the most miles on.
Looks like our budget for this bus was $120,000.
Yes. Yep.
Come in under, always feels good. Any questions or discussion on that recommendation for a bus purchase? I'll entertain a motion when you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid for Hoagland number 2.
Second.
A motion and second to approve bid number 2 from Hoagland Bus, the second bus for $106,989. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, consider proposal for facilities project planning.
So pages 29 through 33 have the proposals from CMBA and FEH following a tour of our facilities and basically an interview that Steve Bresky and I did in response to our conversation in our work session last month. Both firms feel that we don't need what they would call a traditional facilities assessment. After walking the building, kind of seeing the current condition of the facility, the mechanicals, whether it's the roofs, the HVAC, the electrical systems, they feel like we can kind of skip stage 1 of that facility study and move more into prioritization of the projects that we talked about, whether it's the maintenance garage, bus garage, and maybe updating to some classroom spaces, and just kind of having a conversation about what are the district's needs as we look down the road for the next 5 to 10 years. And joining, whether it's the Buildings and Grounds Committee or the full board for another future work session to just kind of plan and prepare for what that might look like. So when it all came down to it, CMBA quoted a range of $15,000 but not to exceed $18,000 to engage in that process. FEH, they kind of had 2 different fee structures in there, $2,200 to basically do all the initial measuring and blueprint work, and then another $14,000 not to exceed, that kind of work with the board or the committee, the Buildings and Grounds Committee, to begin that process. The only difference there is FEH did put in their proposal that any future work that we might engage with them would then be credited based upon whatever planning process and any projects that then are brought to fruition. So again, talking to Steve Bresky, we feel very comfortable with both firms, just had a better kind of initial feeling and impression from our time with FEH. So that's why I'm recommending us to accept the proposal from FEH and begin that planning process.
So their fee is that a not to exceed fee then of $16,950 at their
Yep.
standard hourly rates?
Exactly.
Any discussion on that? get started there?
You know, my plan would be on whoever the board's comfortable with, make that call tomorrow and see when we can get something on the schedule, whether it's, again, starting with the buildings and grounds or, you know, us maybe scheduling a work session, whether that's after our November meeting or between now and our November meeting. You know, if we want to move on any of these projects, just because of supply chain realities right now, you know, time is really of the essence. And so, hopefully, that conversation, like I said, can be had.
Sure.
Yep, pretty quickly.
More questions, discussion?
Make a motion to approve FEH.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the proposal from FEH as recommended. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Items 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, I put this all in one recommendation, is that
Okay.
annual improvement of the allocations for these federal title programs. And again, this funding is based upon enrollment and our free and reduced rate poverty levels. So Title 1A and Title 2A, both of those allocations, roughly, $110,000 dedicated specifically to salaries for our title teachers. Early literacy support services, and then Title 4A is student support and enrichment programs. And so we're budgeting $10,000 to be utilized for our middle school and high school robotics teams, and then startup fees associated with our first Lego League.
Did you need us to take these separately, take them all together?
It's a formality.
Okay. Like that. So let's take items 5, 6, and 7 together when you're ready.
I will make a motion to approve the title allocation funding recommendations as listed.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the title funding recommendations as listed. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item 8, consider policy review. Mr. George?
So this year, we're reviewing the 200 series of board policy. So the first set of policies here, 200 through 204, again, strictly review, not a lot of, not any, I should say, content change here, just minor language change and more of just a review opportunity for the board in terms of these 10 policies. So my recommendation is to approve the policy review and waive the second reading.
Looks like they did make some changes to the code of ethics, interpreting those strike-throughs correctly. Okay. It's good document to review every now and then. There's no discussion or questions, that entertain a motion. If you'd like to make that motion to approve the policy, waive the second reading, we can go with that.
I'll make a motion to approve policy listed and waive the second reading.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the policies as listed and waive the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 9, consider personnel resignations and hiring, items A and B.
Yeah, resignation from Linda Wessels as paraeducator. She's worked at all levels throughout the building, elementary, middle school, and high school. And just an opportunity for her for full-time employment, summer and during the school year with a different employer. And then Kelly Weiler and Mr. Engelman here resigning from their coaching positions. And then the hiring of Carrie Borman as an elementary learner assistant. And then Kelly Weiler as head high school softball coach, and Jerry Poletsky is the head high school baseball coach. Anything to add, principals, resignations, or hiring?
Questions?
Do we have any interest in have we applied or put applications out for assistant?
You want to get the head coaches hired first and then include them in the assistant coach process.
How many assistants are there typically in softball and or baseball?
We've had 3 total people on staff, so a head coach and a JV coach, and then a freshman coach is typically how we've done it.
I think it's appropriate to thank Mr. Engelman again for, that was a position that he stepped into that, if you recall, we had trouble filling. So appreciate you stepping up to the plate for that.
Pun intended again.
Yeah, there you go. No discussion or questions, I'll take a motion on both of those when you're ready.
Make a motion to approve resignations and hirings as listed.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the resignations and hiring as listed. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item J, announcements, dates to remember.
Yeah, just a couple updates from the list that I've included here. There will not be a first round volleyball game on Monday the 18th. Instead, we will host on Wednesday the 20th. Technically the second round game. We'll host Sibley Oshiden, and then the winner will advance to play Boyden Hall the following Monday. So that's a change. And then also I'd point out on Tuesday, November 2nd, is our board election. But also on the ballot that night will be extension of the voted PEPAL. Not raising the ask for the voted PEPAL, just maintaining the 67 cent, and then approving the SAVE revenue purpose statement. And again, the only change in that revenue purpose statement is the authority to use those SAVE dollars for student construction associated with the industrial tech home. So you'll start to see that in the newspaper over the course of the next month. I would encourage all of us to be spreading that word. We'll have a bunch of stuff on social media. We just needs a simple majority to pass, but we want to make sure that we explain how we're using that voted PEPAL. Again, the $106,000 we just allocated for the new bus purchase, PEPAL dollars, okay? Any of the facilities planning that we're talking about, SAVE dollars. Projects that we just finished, restroom remodel, weight room, wrestling room over the course of the last 5 to 10 years. Those are things to be highlighting about.
Softball field.
Softball field, security entrances, all that stuff is SAVE and PEPAL dollars. So basically a media blitz to make sure everybody understands how we're using those funds. Otherwise, like you can see, we got a lot of postseason events coming up for our fine arts, or excuse me, for our athletics, Newsies production at the end of the month, parent-teacher conferences to start the month of November. And then the last thing I would highlight is I'm recommending us move the board meeting from the second Monday in November, from November 8th to November 15th. Reason being, we've got a high school band concert that night, but just as importantly, we won't have the election certified until the 9th. So even though the election's on the 2nd, we need a week to certify. If we postpone by a week, we can have our organizational meeting on the 15th. So,
There's a football banquet that night scheduled, it hardly ever stays that night, but it is scheduled for that night. But it's at 6 and we had a meeting before on that same night.
hopefully we're playing in the finals again.
Push that back.
Push it back, push the banquet back. So, are you guys okay with meeting on the 15th?
Where are we at on the our work session schedule?
So
So I think the October, November student achievement.
Yep, so, I think our fast testing's done, we've got all of our ISASP data back. So if we wanted to do that on the 15th,
See what the agenda looks like maybe and where we're at with. Is it all that data?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Take a motion to adjourn when you're ready.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned.
Thanks, Mr. Jantz.
Thank you for calling me, appreciate it.
You get to sign double the bills next month.
Awesome. I'll do it virtually this time.
Talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
Have a cookie. Wait a minute.
Anna and Kayla made. Please take some home.
Out of commission for a week. Of course, I skipped lunch and supper.
Sounds like a good substitution.
You didn't have the Sherry's Kitchen at lunch today?
That was a big one.